同学们大家好，我们继续讲圣经啊。那么我们现在讲这14节开始啊，这一段，sorry，这个东西，OK，好，这一段啊，Then Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was hurriedly brought out of the dungeon. When he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there's no one who can interpret. I have heard it. I have heard. I have heard it. I'm sorry. I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret. Joseph answered Pharaoh, "It is not me. Sorry, it is not I. 那古语里面 it is not I. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, I was standing on the banks of the Nile, and 7 cows, fat and sleek, came out of the Nile and fed in the reed grass. Then 7 other cows came up after them, poor, very ugly, and thin. Never had I seen such ugly ones in all the land of Egypt. The thin and ugly cows ate up the first 7 fat cows, but when they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had done so, for they are still as ugly as before. Then I woke. The thin and ugly cows ate up the first 7 fat cows, but when they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had done so, for they were still as ugly as before. Then I woke. I fell asleep a second time, and I saw in my dream 7 ears of grain, 4 and grown on one stalk, and 7 ears withered, and 7 withered thing, and blighted by the east wind, sprouting after them. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. But when I told it to the magicians, there was no one who could explain it to me 啊。那么这一段就是好，那么我们来一句就看。Then the Pharaoh sent for and he was hurriedly brought out of the dungeon. When he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before her. 这个不用解释了啊。And the Pharaoh said to her, I have had a dream, and there's no one who can interpret. I have heard it said of you 同学们，这里的 it 是形式主语啊，真正的主语是 that when you 这个就是说我听说 said of you that when you hear a dream you can interpret. 然后这 Joseph answered, it is not I. God will give 那他说这不是我，是上帝来审问啊。Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dream, I was standing on the banks of the Nile, and 7 cow fat, blah blah blah. 这个跟前面重复的，差不多的。Poor ugly, never had seen such ugly. The thin and ugly cows ate up the first one, but when no, then I woke. I fell asleep second time, and I saw and 7 years withered. Number thing, and blighted by the spider. And the thing is swallowed up the ear. But when I told it to 那这一段呢，就不用解释啊。14，那么我们看看注解，14到24， 41、14到24。那么我们来看啊，Joseph 那么这个16有一个。这个16一个注解啊 ，Joseph denies having any occult art and ascribed his skill solely to God 啊。那他否认他自己有什么那种 occult 的那种术occult 就是那种occult 同学们我不查了，同学们可以去查 occult 就是那种 occult 就是也是宗教一种邪教一样的 occult， 一种神秘的一种东西叫 occult。sorry， occult 我们这里双击一下看看有没有occult Occult supernatural, mystical, and magical beliefs, practice of phenomena. Occult involving related super 超自然的一种超自然的一种东西记住他们超自然的 art 这他没有，他说完全是因为是那个然后是说 his signet ring 那42我们已经不到的我们这里没有到24好，那么这个就一个注解。那么这一段呢，就是说，要让他生梦，对不对？好，那么我们看下去那么我们看下去后面就是生梦了后面就是生梦了。周师傅怎么去设这个梦的这段比较重要那么好 ，then 我们不那个了，不 highlight 了。Then Joseph said to Pharaoh's dreams are one and the same 他说这里 God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do The seven good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good years are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them that came up after them are 7 years, as are the 7 empty years blighted by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is as I told Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do. There will come 7 years of great plenty. There will come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. After them, there will arise 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land. The plenty will no longer be known in the land because of the famine that will follow, for it will be very grievous. And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed by God, and God will shortly bring it about. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a man who is discerning and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land, and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plenteous years. Let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming, and lay up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let them keep it. That food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to befall the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. 那么好，那么这个好，那么我们来看Then Joseph said, Joseph 对法老说，Pharaoh's dream are one and the same。他两个梦实际上一样的，就是实际上是一个梦one and the same 一样。God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do 的。那么这个上帝对那个法老显示出上帝要做什么那所以这以后下面一句都是上帝要做的。上帝要做什么？那 7 good cows are 7 years 那个7个好的牛那个健康的牛是7年，这个好的7年等于说。And 7 good years are 7 years， 那个好的那个麦穗也是7年。The dreams are one， 这两个呢是一样的。The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, as are the 7 empty years blighted by the 那么后面的那个丑的那个也是7年，等于说好7年，丑7年后面就是 there are 7 years of famine 那么sorry, the 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, as are the 7 empties blighted 那也是那个 70 empty There are 7 years of famine。那么后面呢，这是7年的饥荒。It is as I told Pharaoh 然后就是 God has shown to Pharaoh。那28我们看一下 It is as I told Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do 啊。It is as I told 啊。那么我们看看啊，41的28 ，sorry 啊，我们看看啊，41的28啊，这个有一点那个语法上面啊。It is as I told 啊，it is 啊，it is 啊，it is as I told， 这个就像我那个，然后那一个分号，我们这里是不是一个分号 ？It is，sorry，it is as 啊 ，God has shown 的，那同学们，这个是，那么我们来看看啊，这个 It is I told to Pharaoh 啊，那么这里是冒号，同学们啊，看到没有？这个是冒号啊，前面那个呢翻译的是分号，这个是冒号啊。It is as said, it is as I said 啊。那么这就是我要告诉法老的啊。那么好，那么后面这个的版本啊。This will happen just as I have described that, for God has revealed to Pharaoh in advance what he is about to do 啊。那么这个就是啊，那么这个 it， 那么这个啊 ，it is as I told 吧。那么这个指后面的啊 ，it is 这个就是我要想这种情况，就像我告诉法老的啊，那么就下面的 it is 啊。as I told Pharaoh that God has shown what to do 啊，那么这个就说这个上帝啊已经向你显示了，就像我说的啊，上帝呢已经告诉了你啊，告诉了法老他要做什么啊，there will come， 那么就将要什么 come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt， 这个就不用翻了。After them 啊 there will arise 7 years of famine， 后面就是饥荒。前面呢就是丰收，7年丰收，接下来就7年饥荒 ，and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land。那么所有的都要忘掉 ，the famine will consume the land 啊 ，the plenty will no longer be known in the land because of the famine that will follow， for it will be very grievous 啊，那就非常的严重啊。好，那么and the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed and God will shortly bring it up。那么这个两个梦啊，为什么他要两个梦啊？意思是什么？这件事情是固定了啊，被上帝固定了，不能改变的。然后呢，那个上帝啊，很快就要把这件事情要发生了啊。好，那么后面怎么办啊？后面 now therefore 那么因此啊 ，let Pharaoh select a man who is discerning and wise and set him over the land of Egypt 啊。那么什么叫 set him 啊？33。那么我们看一下33，为什么叫 set him 啊 over 啊？Now there's let select descending one and set him over the land， 这个等于没说，跟我们一样的，这是什么 ？And put him in charge of the land 啊，那 ，and put him in charge of land of Israel 啊，set him appoint him over the land of 啊，那么我们看啊。Therefore, Pharaoh should find an intelligent, wise man and put him in charge of the entire land. 啊，那么要找一个负责那个整个埃及的一个人啊，明白 ？Now, then let him select him who is discerning. Discerning 就是能够区分啊好坏的这种啊叫 discerning 啊 ，and wise 啊有智慧的 ，and set him over the land of Egypt 啊。那么这个 set him 就让他来负责整个埃及 ，and set him over the land。Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers 然后呢还要叫那个 Pharaoh 34let Pharaoh proceed 进行appoint overseers 看管 over the land and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Israel during the 7 plenteous years 然后是1/5保存下来然后还要指定那个看管的 overseers。那么34我们再来看一下。33后面，let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land and take one overseers over the land and take one let appoint a commissioner 这里的那个他是 commissioner commissioner 我不查了，同学们可以让 overseer。那么我们看看这里Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors 那同学们。 那这个版本呢就比较好一点。这个 overseers 他说是 supervisor 我们现在用的 over the land and let them collect 1/5 of the crops during the 7 good years， 让他们储存啊 1/5 during the 7 years。Let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming and lay up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities and let them keep it. Let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming and lay up grain 堆起来 under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the city and let them keep it. And 那35那么我们再看看35。let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in cities and let them keep it 那么等于说让他们积累堆积起储存食物Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses store it away and guard it so there will be food so there will be food in the cities 那么让他们储存食物let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming and lay up 堆起来lay up lay up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the season and let them keep it. That food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to before before the 降临before 就降临before the land of Egypt 那么这个呢就是这些食物就存起来这些话就是一个reserve 比如就 reserve 就是准备reserve 怎么中文怎么翻 reserve 就是 reserve 这就是一种储存这储存就是饥荒的时候呢那可以用so that the land may not perish through the fire 那么这一段呢就基本上这样也不是很困难那么我们看这一段是25到36那么我们看一下注解25到36 41 25到36这个注解也没有好那么这一段呢也不困难我们那么我们翻过去那么就是37了37不是 sorry 这一段The proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. Pharaoh said to his servants, Can we find anyone else like this? One in whom is the Spirit of God. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, Since God has shown you all this, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Shall order themselves as you command, only with regard to the throne. Only with regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt, removing his signet ring from his hand. Pharaoh put it on Joseph's hand. He arrayed him in garments. He arrayed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in the chariot of his second in command. And they carried out in front of him. Bow the knees. Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am a Pharaoh, and without your consent, no one shall lift up a hand. No one shall lift up a hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zephanath-Paneah. Gave Joseph the name Zephanath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, and he gave him Asenath's daughter Asenath. He gave me Asenath. Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, priest of On, as his wife. Thus Joseph gained authority over the land of Egypt 啊。那么这一段有点复杂啊，我们看一下啊，这一段有点复杂。The proposal pleased for Pharaoh 啊，and all his friends，这句不用翻了啊，让他很高兴。Pharaoh said to his servants，他不是说 ，Can we find anyone else like this 啊？我们能不能再找到别人啊，像Joseph这样的人啊？One in whom is the spirit of God 啊，那么 one in whom one 啊，那么 the spirit is one 啊。这个啊，这一句是定语从句啊，定语从句叫 In whom is the spirit of God， 这个是修饰这个完的一个人啊，这个一个人啊，在他里面啊，the spirit of God is in whom 啊，is in whom 啊，这是的，他就说在这个人里人身上有上帝的那个精神啊，那我们能不能发现这么远？那当然是。So Pharaoh to said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this 啊。There's no one so discerning and wise as you 啊，那么因为上帝跟你显示了这些，没有别人能够比你更那个 discerning 更 wise 了啊。You shall be over my house 啊，那你要照看我的家人啊，照看我的 house 了。You shall be over my house 啊，You shall be over my house and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only with the records will I greater than you 啊。那么这是事实，我们要看一下。事实 ，You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Shall order themselves as you command. 你命令了以后，他们就要执行啊。Order themselves 啊，这命令他们自己啊，等于说执行啊。Only as regards the throne will I grant me 啊。那么我们看这个啊 ，You shall be in charge of my palace 啊。And all my people are to submit to your orders 啊，那看服从你的命令啊。Shall order themselves as you command. Only with respect to throne I will 啊。那么只有呢，我关系到王位呢，我比你的要高啊。那么我们看这个啊 ，You will be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you 啊，看到没？Only I sitting on my throne will have a rank greater than yours 啊。那么他说只有我坐在他的王位，我坐在我的王位上面啊，坐在我的throne啊，throne就是王位啊，王的椅子啊，坐在那个王位上面呢，我才能，比如我的权力才比你大。那么我们看看他这个原来，and see， and 我叫throne with regard to the throne 啊 ，throne 就是 a ceremonial chair for a representative throne 啊。the throne 啊，power 啊，就是王权啊，就是说这王权呢，我要比你的那个高，或者是王位啊。Only with regard to throne will I be greater, I will be greater than you 啊。那么这个就是那个啊，就是说all the people shall order themselves as you command 啊。那么就是服从你的命令。只有涉及到王的时候，这个王权的时候，我比你大啊。那么这个话我们看看啊。sorry. In a remarkable turn of events, Pharaoh appoints Joseph to be his second in command over all of the second 嘛，第二大的 Pharaoh demonstrating humility and concern for his kingdom, has recognized that God's spirit is with Joseph, making him the wisest and most discerning member of all of Egypt. He is convinced that Joseph's revelation of God's plan is authentic, and he wants Joseph to manage the preparations for the coming 7 years of devastating famine 啊。那么这里啊 ，Joseph for his part might have been overwhelmed with these events. He woke up that morning in a seemingly endless string of days in prison for a crime he did not commit. He will end this encounter as the second most powerful man in all of he will end this encounter as the second most powerful man in all of Egypt, perhaps the most potent nation in the world at that time 啊。那么好，那么我们看看啊。 Pharaoh specifically says that Joseph will be over his own house. The palace of Egypt. Every person in the land will respond to Joseph's orders by 磕头，or kissing the ground. 要磕头过去。In other words, all will be made to obey him. Pharaoh, of course, will continue to hold the throne and the ultimate authority, but he will entrust to Joseph command over everything else. This follows a pattern in Joseph's life, where others entrust him with near absolute responsibility. 那么就说全部交给他了，基本上就全部交给他。那么好，那么这个是事实，对不对？You shall be over my house, over 就他的宫殿 and all my people shall order themselves. 那么同学们，这里呢就 order themselves as you command. 那么这个就是服从那么 order， 我们看看 order 一般是命令或者是就 order themselves 就这个 order 不是命令的意思order themselves 把他们组织起来反正服从命令order themselves 是服从命令应该是这么说。那么我们查一下这个 order 有没有这个 to obey order order to put in order to put in arrange 就应该是这个意思 arrange themselves to give an order 不是 give an order command to give an order 这不是 to put in order arrange 就是说所有的人都要把他们安排arrange themselves as you command only with the right and Pharaoh to say that 41and Pharaoh said to her, see, I have set you over all the land of Israel. 那么他对呢，你看他说我已经让给你这个所有的那个权利second in command 那么好，这句也不用那个 removing his signet。然后呢，那个法老他把他的那个签字的那个戒指signet 我们前面说过了，就是他有图章的那个指环指环上面有图章 from his hand Pharaoh remove Pharaoh put it on Joseph 然后他把他的那个指环那个象征着他的那个图章的那个指环把他带到那个 Joseph 手上 He arrayed him in garments of fine linen He arrayed 就是他给了那个安排array in the display a range of particular types Sorry 我们看一下 array array 是动词display arrange dress themselves they were arrayed 就是穿什么衣服sorry 就是穿什么衣服He arrayed him in garments of fine linen 他给他穿那个很好的那种服装fine garments and put a gold chain around 然后呢又给他一个金项链He had him ride in the chariot 那个车子那种chariot is a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle 两个马牵的那种古代那个有地位的人坐的那种ride he had him 他让他 ride in the chariot of his second command 那么 and they cried out in front of him 包着你这个一个包着你Apparently, an Egyptian word similar in sound to the Hebrew word meaning to kneel 跪下来Abrak 那这个包着你这 Abrak 就是那个 kneel 就跪下来包着你就是跪下来下跪的意思Thus he set him Thus he 包着你Thus he set him all the way 那么这个43我们看一下这个43呢有一个就是 and they carry out in front of me and they carry out in front of me 那么这个 they 是什么这个 they 是老百姓应该是carried out 他们出来这个包着你那么好那么我们看看这个43 43 ，and he made him，他让他 ride in the second chariot as they called out before him， and they called out before him 啊，那么他们在他前面呢要叫出来 bow the knee 啊。Thus he said to him all over that 啊，那 and they called out before him 啊，bow the knee 啊。那么这个 they 是指谁啊？那么这个 they called out before him 啊，那么我们看看下面这个。He had him ride in the chariot as his second in command, and the people shouted before him, make way. That's he put it, make way. Bow the knees, bow the knees 就下跪啊。They 然后呢，人们 called before him, bow the knee 跪下bow the knee 那么我们看看这个。Then he had Joseph ride in the chariot reserved for his second command. 他是第二大的 second in command. And wherever Joseph went, the command was shouted. Kneel down. So Joseph put kneel. 他说他这个车不管到什么呀，那个命令就会叫出来跪下kneel down 那 command was shouted. 那么这个有点意思，大家有点稍一点吧。He had to ride in the second, and they cry out in front of him 在前面包着你they 等于说是那个驾马车的，应该说是那个驾马车的，驾那个车子的人要叫包着你对老百姓叫应该是这个意思好，那么我们看这个Pharaoh has made Joseph the second most powerful man in Egypt after himself. He has given Joseph his signet ring, along with fine linen robes and a gold necklace or collar. These are not only part of Joseph's payment for his role, but also important signs about his acceptance by Egypt's king. Later, Pharaoh will enhance this naturalization, a process of making someone an official member of a society by giving him an Egyptian name and an Egyptian wife 那么好，那么我们后面看看这个是 Now Pharaoh assigned his second chariot to 他给他的那个第二个那个马车chariot to 那么我们这个词怎么念这个 chariot 是马车那么我们看看这个 chariot 还是 chariot 这个词
chariot
chariot for 四轮马车两轮马车四轮马车这么我那么不管了，稍等一下那么好 chariot this implies that Joseph is taken out assigned his second chariot to Joseph. This implies that Joseph is taken out in public, riding in the streets to demonstrate his authority and presence. Everywhere Joseph goes, the people are made to kneel as a sign of respect and submission. 跪下来都要跪下来了。Joseph's position as ruler is real and weighty. He will have all the authority he needs to prepare for and manage the coming famine crisis. 就说那么这个应该这么理解就是说他每到一处那个他那个马车上面的前面那个侍卫等于说大家都要对街上的人都要叫的bow the knee bow the knee 就是跪下弯bow the knee knee bow the knee 不是 bow the knee bow the knee 好，然后是 Thus he said him all over 那么后面moreover 更有甚者Pharaoh said to Joseph, I'm a Pharaoh, and without your consent, no one shall lift up a hand or foot in all of that. 那么这一句什么意思这一句是有点难度，我们看看。Moreover said, I'm a Pharaoh, and without your consent, no one shall lift up a hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. 这个 I'm a Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in all. Lift hand or foot 就是不能动没有你的命令，没有人能动不能动有这个意思Without your permission, no one shall raise his hand or foot in all 好，那么我们这个都，他这个都看看这个版本啊。Pharaoh said, "I'm a Pharaoh, but no one will lift hand or figure in the entire land without your approval." 那么为什么他也这里也没有说他举一个手啊，或者举一个脚啊，没有你的同意啊，人们就不能行动啊。那么这说 lift hand or foot 就是说你没有你的同意啊，人们都不能行动的啊。那么我们看看这个里面啊有没有这个意思啊？sorry. After witnessing firsthand that the Spirit of God was with the hearing, and hearing his plan to save Egypt from famine, Pharaoh quickly took action. He put Joseph in charge of preparing the ground. In fact, Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of everything in the kingdom, second only to himself. To signify that, so given the appropriate clothing, jewelry, signet, and other marks of power, he was given the Pharaoh's second chariot and takes over the streets for people to kneel in respect. Finally, Pharaoh summarized the new arrangement to make clear how much authority Joseph has in Egypt. Speaking symbolically, he says Joseph has total authority in all matters. There's nothing, however small, in the nation which Joseph cannot command or control. He is empowered to redirect all resources of the entire nation for the purpose of preparing the land for the depths of famine heading their way. 那么就是 will lift, no one will raise their hand and foot. This was likely a head-spinning series of events for Joseph. He had been sold into slavery years ago by his own brothers. His most recent job, so to speak, was an assistant in the jail where he himself was imprisoned. And now he's been thrust into a position of enormous power and response. His rise from jail to near absolute power would have been stunning. Joseph must have been thoroughly convinced that God remained with him, even in his captivity. Later, he will come to realize that these sufferings were all part of a plan to save Joseph's own family. 那么就说这些就是说OK，这个就是。那么他这里也没有特别说。那么我们这个意思就这么理解就是说没有你的同意一个人都不能动他的手和脚的，他不能行动的没有他的同意所有埃及人都不能行动的就要听他的命令就这个意思。Pharaoh gave Joseph the name 那么 Pharaoh 给他一个埃及的名字and he gave him Asenath, daughter of Potiphar. 然后呢，他给了他那个Asenath 做他的老婆那么这个 Potiphar 是谁？Priest of On as his wife. That's priest gained authority over the land. 好，那么这个45什么叫 priest of On Ontario 这个 ON Ontario 我开玩笑。好，那么我们看看sorry 45这45开玩笑什么叫 On part of a priest of On 那这里也是 priest of priest of On 这个都没解释那么这里priest of On the priest of On 那么什么叫 priest of On 我们看看这里in a sort of quick fashion, has from imprisoned slave second to the role included unlikely. We wanted to remove any Joseph in the land, including the possibility Egypt might not want to take orders from a foreign slave, and to fully assimilate. The role introduced jewelry and other symbols associated. Further, will take two actions meant to fully assimilate to Egyptian culture. Likely wanted to remove and 因此thus Pharaoh gave an Egyptian name. Scholars are divided about exactly what this might mean. Common suggestions are variations of the God is speaking, he is alive, or something like a revealer of secrets. The exact details of the new name are not as important as the purpose, making Joseph sound like he belonged in Egypt. 那么给了他一个埃及名字Next 来了Next, Pharaoh arranged for Joseph to be married to a powerful Egyptian family. The city of On, 同学们 这里啊，这个 on 啊是一个城市啊，不是 Ontario， 不是加拿大一个省份啊，我们这里省份Ontario。那么它的 city 啊，the city on was the center of sun worship 啊，and Joseph and Joseph's new father-in-law Potipharah was a priest of On. His sudden wife's name was Asenath. Scripture tells us very little about her or her relationship with. We know she gives birth to two children, Manasseh and Ephraim, who will be important later in Israel's history. 那么他生了两个儿子啊。Now, with the authority, position, and placement of Joseph begins his reign as a ruler over Israel. His first step, as one might expect, is to tour and visit the land. This is described using a Hebrew word meaning exiting or proceeding. Joseph went out and began his duties. 好，那么这个啊，就是 a priest of On 这个 On 是一个城市啊 ，as his one. Thus Joseph gained authority over that 啊。那么这一段呢讲到这里啊。那么这一段呢，我们看一下这个注解，我们这里的注解37到45。37到45，对不对？那么42一个注解，42一个注解 ，His signet ring 啊。his signature ring 啊 ，empowered Joseph to act as a Pharaoh representative， 反正他的代表啊，那个给他那个手镯啊，不是手镯，sorry，指环啊，就是那个叫指环啊，那指环啊，这指环那有图章的指环就给他那个代表啊，然后是45啊，那么45是。This installation rites culminate in the bestow of an Egyptian name on Joseph. This installation 45，那么我们回过头看45，它讲的是什么？45 Pharaoh gave the name and he 那么45就是给他名字啊，45就是给他名字和那个的，sorry， 还给他婚姻啊，45啊。45是两个注意，一个起名字，一个呢 ，this installation 啊，就是给他地位的installation rights 叫仪式那就是 culminate in the bestow of an Egyptian name on Joseph 给他一个名字bestow 给他埃及名字Joseph's adoption into the Egyptian court is further indicated by his adoption in the 那么 Joseph 的那个 adoption 就是同化了他被他们接纳到那个埃及的皇宫court 这里是皇宫然后呢进一步呢就是表示了有婚姻有一个神父的那个女儿的婚姻or Heliopolis 这个 on 就是 Heliopolis No judgment is attached to this intermarriage with an Israeli foreigners Potipharah C 的巴拉巴拉那么同意吗？这里呢这个注解就是说这个他们要同化他，让他就是说那个法老要让那个 Joseph 就像一个埃及人一样的这个就是 installation rights 但他们要仪式，有几个仪式，一个仪式呢就是说一个形式呢，一个仪式，你可以说仪式，就是说仪式到达什么顶峰呢？就是说首先给他一个埃及的名字。然后呢，还有呢，就是说，给他一个婚姻，娶了一个埃及老婆，by his man further indicated by his man into the priesthood of On 然后呢，给他而且是一个神父的女儿神职人员的女儿，那么这个就厉害了，对不对？就彻底的那个同化他adoption 这个就是 adoption。No judgment 那么关于就是说。他和那个埃及的女人的通婚那这个是不是他们本族通婚？这以色列人是很讲究，是反对这个的。他这里没有评判这里他没有 no judgment is attached to this intermarriage with an Egyptian foreigner 好，那么46那么46有个注解，46讲什么呢？46是下一个的，sorry， 46是下一段的好，那么这个注解呢就到这里了。 好，那么现在呢，我们这一段sorry，这一段45呢就讲到这里。那么下一个视频呢，我们要开始要讲46了啊。今天就讲，谢谢大家，再见。